All right, today we're jumping into something wild, the massive, kind of chaotic, and totally revolutionary world of live commerce in China. And trust me, it's way more than just shopping. It's a whole cultural phenomenon that's completely rewriting the rules of retail. Let's get into it.
First, just to get a sense of the scale here, in 2020, China's live commerce market was worth almost $2 trillion US. Now, to put that number in perspective, that's bigger than Japan's entire e-commerce market. This is not some small niche trend. It is a gigantic part of the economy that just exploded during the pandemic, and it touches pretty much every product in every generation.
So what are people buying? I mean, sure, you've got the usual suspects, makeup, clothes, but the really mind-blowing stuff is the stuff you'd think is absolutely impossible to sell on a live stream. We're talking about living, wriggling crayfish by the ton. Used cars, where you can literally ask the seller, hey, can you pop the hood live on camera? People are even buying entire apartments, which, raises the big question, how on earth do you get someone to buy a car or even a house through their phone? Well, the answer is probably not what you're thinking.
To really get how this works, we first have to talk about the huge difference in style. I mean, the live commerce we might be used to seeing looks nothing like what's dominant in China. It's really a tale of two completely different approaches.
So, in the West or Japan, live commerce often feels like a slick, polished TV shopping channel, right? You've got celebrities, a professional presentation, everything is super smooth. But in China, it's a whole different ballgame. Most of the streams feature the actual shop owners, their staff, and it creates this raw, unfiltered, and honestly incredibly intense experience. The point isn't to look slick, the point is to make a sale, right now.
Yeah, from an outside perspective, the whole style can feel, well, a little intimidating. One person watching described it perfectly. They said the streamers talk incredibly fast, there are very few smiles, their eyes are just dead serious. You might even find it a little scary. It's not weird for a streamer to just start eating noodles on camera if the viewership dips, or for their kid to just wander into the shot. It's completely unfiltered, and because of that, it feels very, very real.
And that's the key. You have to get this idea out of your head that this is some kind of perfect television program. It's not. The goal is to recreate the energy of a busy, bustling Chinese shopping street. The vendors calling out, a little bit of chaos, constant movement. That authenticity is exactly what people were craving when they were stuck at home and missing the real world.
Okay, so if the presentation is so raw and sometimes even a little messy, how does it work so well for everything from snacks to apartments? The answer, and this is really the secret ingredient to this whole revolution, is trust, especially in a market where people can be pretty wary about product quality and safety. Let me give you the perfect example, the story of a crayfish farmer named Wang Wenjun. So when the pandemic hit, the crayfish industry was just devastated. Restaurants were closed, and people were terrified that seafood might be contaminated. So she did something absolutely brilliant. She started live streaming directly from her farm on Taobao. And just like that, people could see the clean water with their own eyes, they could see the healthy crayfish, and most importantly, they could see the actual person who raised them. That transparency just wiped away all their fears. And the result? She sold her entire stock. 1 ton of crayfish. Gone. And you might be thinking, oh, that's a nice little story. But this wasn't just a feel-good, one-off thing. The model proved to be massively scalable. Not long after, a famous food influencer sold 30 million crayfish. That's 250 tons in a single broadcast. The big takeaway here? Showing a source, being transparent, builds a level of trust that no polished advertisement could ever hope to achieve.
So this trust-based model basically opened the floodgates. It allowed sellers to move way beyond simple products and start selling high-value items that, before, seemed completely impossible to sell online. Let's take a look at how this works for some really big-ticket purchases.
But first, who's actually watching this stuff? You might think it's mainly for people in the big, modern cities like Beijing or Shanghai, but the data actually shows the complete opposite. A huge chunk of the audience is in the smaller third and fourth tier cities. And why is that? Well, because in those places, you often don't have easy access to specialty stores for things like cars or high-end furniture or other niche goods. For them, live commerce isn't just entertainment, it's a vital connection to a much wider marketplace.
So how in the world do you sell a used car this way? Well, you basically turn the live stream into a virtual car lot. A potential buyer can type in the comments, hey, show me the engine, or can you look under the seats, and the seller just does it, right there, in real time.
If the buyer's convinced, they pay a small deposit online to reserve the car, and then they travel to the dealership to finish the purchase in person. It's this brilliant hybrid model that gets rid of so much of the risk and saves people from driving from lot to lot for hours.
And if you think cars are a big deal, real estate took it even further. A company called Bake created these incredible VR showrooms. It allowed people to do fully interactive 3D walkthroughs of apartments right from their phones. During the peak of the lockdowns, when you couldn't do in-person viewings at all, their sales jumped, get this, 35 times over the previous month. That combination of a VR tour with a live chat just gave buyers enough confidence to make one of the biggest purchases of their entire lives, sight unseen.
This same idea is what revived domestic tourism. They called it cloud travel. Hotels and tourist spots would live stream directly from their locations, so viewers could see with their own eyes what the safety measures looked like, how crowded it actually was, and what the view from that hotel room really looked like, right at that moment. It was total transparency. It restored people's confidence, and it let them book trips right there on the spot.
So when you see all of this, the big question becomes, is this raw, trust-based, super interactive model the future of retail everywhere? Or is there something culturally and maybe technologically unique to China that makes it all click?
You have to remember, for centuries, commerce in China has been rooted in these lively social marketplaces. It's about more than just buying something. It's about the thrill of discovery, the fun of negotiating, the whole social aspect of it. Whereas in a lot of the West, we tend to view shopping more as a task, right? Something to be done as efficiently as possible. Chinese live commerce taps directly into that deep cultural desire for shopping as entertainment.
And then, of course, you have the technology factor. China is a truly mobile-first society. For the younger generations, the smartphone isn't their second screen, it's their only screen. It's what they use for movies, for games, for everything. This creates this enormous captive audience that's already living on their phones 24/7. In places where traditional TV still commands most of the attention, it's just a lot harder to get that critical mass of viewers you need for a live stream to really take off.
So while the Chinese model might not be something you can just copy and paste everywhere else in the world, it definitely reveals a powerful shift in what consumers are starting to value. And it makes you ask the question, as our lives move more and more online, what's actually more valuable in the future of how we shop? Is it that perfect, slick polish? Or is it a real, genuine human connection? Definitely something to think about.